I think the biggest things that helped me fix the issues was just like the ongoing support. During this process of working on myself with you, we're launching a new product that we think is going to double the size of our company. And I launched a new company, and that company is already almost doing $1 million per year. Hi, my name is Eric Carroll. I'm the CEO and founder of DoFollow.com. I'm also the co-founder of Playbooks.co, both remote companies. I work from home, run a team of about 20 to 25 people based in Kansas City, Missouri.
Cool. So yeah, I think what will be helpful is just a bit about your backstory before we started working together.
So before I started working with Umair, I started my fitness journey in 2021. I started working with a personal trainer and then a nutritionist. And that went quite well for a few years. I was really able to take control of my health. I was able to lose a lot of weight, put on a lot of muscle. I really systemized my nutrition plan, but I didn't really work on the details. And I didn't really work on I think the mental aspect of everything and the emotional aspect of everything. So even though I was eating better and I was working out more, I was still drinking too much on the weekends, which was negating a lot of the progress I made during the week. My sleep was still pretty poor. So I really wasn't getting the quality of sleep that I should be getting. And I think building like the little habits that help support like the overall goals is something I really struggled with. So that's why I wanted to work with you, Maren. That's why I wanted to get some more help in building the foundation across about reaching these larger goals.
Yeah. And I think when we dove into it, just a little bit deeper than that, it was you felt like there was like another level you could operate at, and that it was like a domino effect that just all these things added up together, and you were here, but you know that you could get to there, like in your life, but also in the way you run your business, in your relationships, in the gym. It's all part of the same way. It's all part of the same thing, isn't it? The way you view yourself, your self-esteem, your confidence, your momentum, all of that.
Yeah, I think that there was like a level, I was stuck at a few levels below where I knew I could get. And also, I think that I was in this cycle of kind of doing the same thing. Like my work week looked the same, my weekends looked the same. My recovery days from my weekends would go a couple of days into my week. So I'd start the week pretty slow. And then I realized that really I'm only getting 3 or 4 days of like actual productivity in per week. That was really keeping me from reaching that next level.
Yeah, exactly. And so how do you think that was impacting your business?
I think it was impacting my business because I really couldn't. I would have a lot of Monday morning meetings and Tuesday morning meetings, and I really wasn't showing up like the way that I should as a CEO and co-founder. I wasn't as attentive during the meetings. I wasn't as productive during the week in general, I don't think,
Mm.
because my energy levels weren't really there. My focus really wasn't there. So a lot of times when I would have things that I needed to get done, like, it was really hard for me to sit down and actually do them because I just didn't have the energy to do it or the focus. But that was an issue because it kept me from moving projects forward in my company. And then I think it also impacted the way that people perceived me in my company.
Yeah, that's also important. Because I mean, you have a big team. And so I guess when we started working together, do you want to just talk about how that process and how were you able to, like, how did that look? What did you find to be some of the unlocks for you that enabled you to actually break through it and get to where you are now? What enabled you to fix the issues you had?
Yeah, I think the biggest things that helped me fix the issues was just like the ongoing support. So like the check-ins, helping me build the structure, really focusing on what you believed were the biggest impacts for me. I think you audited like what my day to day looked like. You audited what my diet looked like, what my sleep looked like by looking at the data, and then saw the biggest areas for improvements. And then we just focused on those. We focused on a lot of other things as well. But I think the majority of the focus was the places where we saw the biggest impact, which was my weekends, my weekend life, my life outside of work, my sleep, and then like the habits, building the habits that actually support these goals and support my life. So those were the biggest impacts for me. That's where the majority of the focus was. And that's because I think that there can be an issue of people wanting to do a big sweeping change of their life and try to fix a bunch of different things at once. And it gets really scattered and it's really difficult to do that. But if you focus on the things that have the highest reward, the highest leverage, that's what you helped me with. And I think that's like the correct way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because I think also we, like you were really good with, you put the effort in, you were very consistent, you built that up. And I think a lot of some of the systems that we help to install help to support that. And I think that's what's helping you now in ways. Like you have that mental model and that framework. Do you want to just,
Yeah.
I guess, just discuss a little bit around like some of like the journaling and the habit tracker and just like the review cycles, like how those kind of helped you to build up that consistency and momentum?
Let me think about this for a quick sec. But yeah, I think in terms of helping me build the systems, the biggest things for me were like creating the habits that support those systems. So, but also keeping in mind like the overall goal. So some of the systems that we implemented were like breath work and meditation every day, which helped me control my nervous system, regulate my nervous system, which also helped me sleep better because sleep was a big goal for me. Also, the journaling work that I was doing every day, and then we would do a review every week. That sort of helped me like just keep a pulse on like how I was feeling, how I was sleeping, the stressors in my life, which I really wasn't looking at before. But when you're actually mindful of what's happening, it helps you pinpoint what needs to be done better. And then also like the vision board. So like creating a vision board that actually supports like where I want to get in life and actually visualize that every day was a big help as well, because it really puts in perspective like when you have an off day, but then you think about the vision board and you're forced to look at where you want to get, then it helps you audit your behavior of that day. You're like, okay, is this, if I spend 365 days just like this, is this really going to get me to where I want to be? So I think that it really helps with that. And then I really saw the improvements because before I was sleeping 5.5 hours per day. But with all the work that we were doing around sleep and the supporting habits to help me with that sleep, I'm sleeping like 7.5, 8. I slept 8.5 hours the other night. That was great. So
Wow.
when we're implementing these little systems in the
Mm.
details, it really helps support the overall goals. And I just feel better. I have way more energy. I'm more
Yeah.
productive than I've ever been.
Yeah. That's amazing. I'm glad the vision board helped you. It's when, yeah, it's actually, these things are very subtle and quite hard to explain, but if you can get into them, you can get them working. They really do help
Yeah.
leveraging your sort of the way your brain works, the way it's good to have a North Star at all times at the top of your system.
Mhm.
And that's what's going to keep you on track rather than
Yeah.
falling off because we all have days when we're a bit off, but it's about getting back on it.
Yeah. And I still look at it every day. I'm going to redo mine because it's a little outdated and it's hard to connect with sometimes. But
Yeah.
just getting in the habit of looking at, even though it's not super polished, like just getting the habit of looking at what I want
Yeah.
every day and doing that and thinking about that when it's 10 in the morning, I feel like I'm just out of energy and I just want to go lay on the couch for a bit. It's okay. Well, this isn't going to get me there.
Yeah.
It's good
Exactly.
it's a really good tool to audit your behavior and cross reference it with where you're trying to get.
Exactly. Yeah. And so do you feel like, and so I guess now yeah. And I think before we move on to, I guess, the now and how useful, like what were kind of some of the work we did at the end, looking into the blood markers and getting under the hood about actually what's going on and some of the things that we're, probably going to be working on building out a long-term plan. Just how useful was that? How, yeah, anything that came up that you liked, was insightful, just, yeah, just anything you can talk to about that.
Yeah, I think that was probably the biggest impact when I look at everything was the biomarkers. So getting the blood test done and seeing what's actually going on in my body,
Mm,
like it uncovered a lot of stuff that I really didn't know was happening to me because in my mind, I led a pretty healthy life or at least a pretty balanced life. And when I saw that there were behaviors that were contributing to some markers that were out of range for me that could very likely lead to bigger issues or even death like earlier than expected down the road. That was a big eye opener for me.
mm,
So it really showed me. And then also going through that with you and your team and showing me that like, okay, this is what's happening. This can be corrected, but it takes like focus for you to get there and really showing me like what exactly I'm doing to contribute to that and what can be changed. because yeah, like there were things in there that were really scary. I imagine if I feel those things, as somebody who I feel like leads a pretty relatively healthy lifestyle, then I think everybody should do it because there could just be things hidden that you just don't feel, but they're still there.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So now, like, how have you, what's the current state? You said you've got much better energy, focus, productivity. Like, what's going on there? Like, how do you feel now compared to before? And how has that impacted your life and your business?
A few of the bigger things is that have changed. Bigger things that have changed is I'm sleeping much better than I've ever slept.
Mm,
So I get quality sleep every night. But there's a lot of there's maintenance that you have to do to stay there. And
yeah.
I think that's where your work came in, is because I would have good nights and I would have bad nights before. But now I have almost all good nights of sleep. But there's also maintenance to keep that. Like you have to work at keeping good sleep. You have to go to
Hmm.
bed at around the same time every night. You have to not put certain things in your body. You have to do things before bed to keep there. And I just didn't like the idea of my sleep being deregulated like that.
Mm,
So now I sleep better than I've ever slept, and it helps me. I have more energy than I've ever had.
amazing.
Well, than I've had as an adult, probably,
Yeah.
which definitely leads to more productivity. So
Mm,
I'm more productive in my business now than I've been in years. It
amazing.
was really hard for me to stay productive before. There'd be weeks where I look back and I was like, man, I'm the owner of this company and I've put maybe an honest 2 hours of work in this week. But now it's like I'm really crushing it right now. And my entire company can feel that, because there the past few years when I really wasn't putting that level of effort in, like the perception of me changes within the company. And you really have to work to
Mm,
change that perception. And so I just feel like I've just earned back a lot more respect. I'm doing a lot more. I have a better vision on what's going on within the company because I'm just paying attention to the details because I have the energy and focus to do that. Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. That's really interesting. So, so how do you think about that? So if I'm an entrepreneur and my energy is a little bit inconsistent and my focus like isn't quite there, and I'm always trying to push harder, or things are just a little bit erratic. How do you think getting all these things dialed in, doing all the work that we did, how do you think that helps you or helps an entrepreneur like actually just make more money?
Yeah, I think I would say it compares to like the maintenance of a car. You
Yeah.
know, if you don't change the oil, if you don't let the car warm up in winter, if you don't put good quality gas in the car, if you don't make sure the car is just well taken care of, like it's going to get you to A to B, but it's going to run like crap and it won't last very long, right? So I think that it's important that you're taking good care of yourself. You're looking at what you're putting in your body. You're getting good sleep, like you're doing the maintenance. Because yeah, I was still running my company before, and it was still technically growing, and it was still it wasn't falling apart or anything, but it wasn't nearly as healthy as it could have been. So I think that now, as I'm taking better care of myself, me being the vehicle for my company, it just helps me spot. I'm spotting a lot of opportunities that I didn't spot before, launching new products that I just didn't have the focus and energy to spot before.
Mm,
Like during this process of working on myself with you, we're launching a new product that we think is going to double the size of our company. And I launched a new company, and that company is already almost doing $1 million per year. So
wow.
there is just like a whole nother level that you can run that company. Like you can be an entrepreneur and you can run that company and you might see good results. But if you really want to get to that next level, like you have to change your behavior, or you at least have to look at your behavior and seeing if you're taking good care of yourself and giving you that edge to get to the next level.
Yeah, that's absolutely fire. That's amazing. So I think, do you think this is a good investment for someone looking to grow their business, actually investing in themselves?
Yeah, I often get asked if you have money to invest in anything as an entrepreneur, what are you investing in? And my answer is always to invest in yourself.
Mm,
Because if you're not taking care of your health, first of all, you are you're just running on fumes, and you're just not performing at the level that you need to perform if you want to really push this thing as far as it can go, right?
yeah.
So that's number one. Is I just feel like it's really important to invest in yourself, to look at the details, If you're an entrepreneur and you're getting to a place where you're making money, you should be investing in yourself first, because that's where you're going to get the highest ROI. If you're getting better sleep and you're eating better food and you're working out and you're feeling good, like you're just going to have more energy to put into this company and to grow it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it starts with us as entrepreneurs, as heads of these companies. That's where I always suggest that people invest in themselves first.
Yeah, 100, man. All right. I think that's good. Appreciate it.
No problem. Take care.